Hey guys, welcome back to the Homestead Adventure. Today I'm going to show you how to make coffee sugar scrub bars. This is an exfoliating bar that you will use in the shower. It's also very moisturizing because it is made with coconut oil or cocoa butter, whichever you choose. This is a very simple recipe and I'm very excited to share this with you guys. So let's get started. So before we get started, let's check out the tools we need. The first thing is you're going to want some sort of small mold like this. I use silicone molds because it's easy to just pop them out when they're done. You're going to need coconut oil or cocoa butter. Cocoa butter has a very strong smell to it, but you can get deodorized cocoa butter if you don't like the smell. Cocoa butter is good for hotter temperatures because it won't melt as quick as the coconut oil. But you can keep these in the fridge if your weather is very warm. In this recipe, I will be using coconut oil. We are also going to need white sugar, ground coffee, honey, cinnamon, and if you want, orange essential oil. I ran out of my orange oil, so I'll be using a couple drops of mandarin instead. You can use any essential oil you want, but make sure that you are using an oil that is safe to use on skin. For the coconut oil and the sugar, I am going to be measuring them by weight. So I'm going to use my scale. I'm going to put a measuring cup on here, then turn the scale on so it will zero out. And then I'm going to go to grams, and we are going to do 140 grams of coconut oil. For bath products, I use refined coconut oil because it has less of that coconutty smell to it. You can use whatever you want, and it's also a lot cheaper to buy the refined oil. For cooking, I definitely use unrefined, but for cosmetics and bath products, it's best to use refined. So here we have 140 grams of coconut oil, and then we're going to put this on the stove on low heat just until it melts. You don't want it to boil. While we are melting that, we are going to measure out our other ingredients. I'm just going to use the same measuring cup I did for the coconut oil and measure out the sugar. So remember to put your measuring cup on the scale before you turn it on so you can zero out the scale. We're going to go to grams again, and we're going to do 500 grams of sugar. Okay, so we got 500. And then we're going to pour this into a bowl. We're going to go 2 tablespoons of ground coffee. I'm just using Folgers Classic Roast. Doesn't matter what kind of coffee you use as long as it's ground. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons. I'm going to go 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And 2 tablespoons of honey. First I'm going to mix this around before I add the honey so you can mix all the dry ingredients. So we're going to go 2 tablespoons of honey. Make sure you're checking your coconut oil on the stove or cocoa butter, remember. If you're using cocoa butter, it's going to be the same. It's going to be 140 grams, so you don't have to change that. So the honey is going to start crumbling like when you're cutting in butter when you're baking. Just try to incorporate it as much as you can. So now our coconut oil is all melted, and the next step is to add your essential oil. This part is completely optional. I am using this mandarin essential oil because I am out of my orange. So normally you're going to do about 30 to 40 drops with the amount of oil that we used. So I'm going to use probably whatever I have left in here. All right, so I did about 40 drops. And we're going to stir that in. So I put the essential oil into the coconut oil, the melted coconut oil. And the next step is to pour the coconut oil into the sugar mixture. So now we're gonna pour this in here. And we're gonna mix it all together. And once it's all together, our next step is to put this into our molds. Next step is we're going to take our mixture and press it into our silicone molds as tightly packed as you can, because we want these to stay as a bar. We don't want it just loosely packed, we want it really packed in there. Now that we have these in our molds, our next step is to put it in the freezer for 15 minutes so that it can set, and then we can pop these out. So these have been in the freezer for 15 minutes, and now it's time to pop them out of the mold. Just be careful that you're not gonna crumble it. And there we have it. And that's it. Super quick and easy. They make great gifts. So to use these, each one of these are single use. You just use it in the shower as you would any other scrub. And just be very careful getting out of the tub because it will be slippery because of the oil. And especially if you're using coconut oil, you probably want to keep these in the fridge or at least in a cool, dry place. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you on the next adventure. Bye, guys.